Our next panel is about what many Canadians call our most powerful AI asset. It's people. We're home to world-class AI talent and research talent. I kind of think we invented the thing, but don't quote me. The global race is moving fast, and so the question is, how can Canada better connect its research, talent, and capital to accelerate AI deployment, help firms scale, and strengthen homegrown innovation? This is a very salient time to be having this conversation, and you picked the right stage. Again, best stage of the conference, don't tell anyone. To explore this, we're joined by an incredible panel. Dr. Stephen Lucas, CEO of Mitacs, and the former deputy minister with more than 35 years of public policy leadership. Perouz Taslakian, the AI research lead at ServiceNow. Dr. Yves Jacquier, executive director at Laforge at Ubisoft. And Samuel Lévesque, director at Intact Insurance. Big hand for them, everybody.
Hi there, good morning. I'm Steve Lucas, the CEO of Mitacs. Mitacs supports collaboration between businesses and academic researchers through supporting students from undergraduate to graduate students and postdoctoral fellows. And today we're here to talk about talent. So salient to our work with Mitacs and critical to the future of AI and AI in Canada. Canada's AI ecosystem is built on world-class research and research institutes, high-quality talent, and strong collaboration across sectors, from leading companies to startups in a broad ecosystem. But global competition is intense, including for talent. So the question we're asking today is, how can we make sure Canadian talent isn't just developed here, but deployed and retained across Canada to drive outcomes in research, business growth, and AI application across the economy and across society? And I'm joined by three leaders who have a broad range of experience across applied research, business innovation, and real-world AI deployment. Dr. Yves Jacquier, who's the executive director of Ubisoft Laforge, leads one of the most advanced applied AI labs in the entertainment industry, where academic collaboration is core to innovation. Next, Dr. Perouz Taslakian, who's the research lead in AI at ServiceNow, helping to shape foundational research while guiding its real-world application and mentoring the next generation of researchers through their Visiting Researchers program. And finally, Samuel Lévesque, who's the director of data science at Intact, applying AI to risk modeling and customer experience in a complex environment, and who started his own career journey as a Mitacs intern, as a grad student. So let's get on with it. Yves, perhaps I'll start with you. At Ubisoft Laforge, what do you think are the biggest opportunities and barriers in terms of transferring AI and machine learning research into your production, including through interdisciplinary work?
Thank you, Steve. First question, who plays video games? Thank you very much. So video games, by essence, is an interdisciplinary industry, meaning that you take designers, programmers, managers, artists, and you need to have them work together on a recipe to create something unique. So when it comes to AI innovation, there are many obstacles. The strongest obstacles is really about what we call incremental innovation. So in other words, all those little silos who are trying to push the boundaries of their own domain. Then enters AI, where to create characters, for example, you need to have models, you need to have animations, you need to have text, you need to have voice, and most of the time, you cannot rely only on your little silos. So you need to reinvent your pipeline. That's what we call disruptive innovation. So the best recipe to do that is really to work with interdisciplinary researchers. So people who not only are experts in machine learning, which is a good thing, but also have expertise in other areas, such as animation, 3D modeling, online toxicity, for example, and have all those people work together trying to solve a problem with a novel angle. So that's really how we proceed.
Okay, merci Yves. Perouz, I'll turn to you. From a ServiceNow perspective, how can you, in working with researchers and students, help support better pathways for the transfer of that knowledge into application for future industry advancement and overall AI leadership?
Yes, thank you, Stevie. So from my vantage point, I'm a researcher in an industrial setting. My job is to do research and to publish in academic conferences and journals. My job will not be possible without interns. And when I say interns, these are graduate students who come to the company, who spend 8 months to a year at ServiceNow. And they are not only the doers or the people who just do what I tell them to do. They are collaborators, they are my co-authors, and they are the ones who are driving the research innovation. So these interns are very, very important for my work and for the innovation aspect of AI for all of us, in fact. So for me, having these interns is one of the most important part of my job, okay, and the innovation aspect. Now, these interns, of course, start as graduate students, but when they finish their internships, when they graduate, they oftentimes go into the industry or academia. Many times, they start their own startups, often building upon the research we did together at ServiceNow, and move on to doing great things. This shows, first of all, for me, that Canada and Montreal and all of us, we're not only passive consumers of AI innovation that happens elsewhere. We are actually part of that process. We are driving this innovation, and again, interns are the most important part for me. So the most important thing for me right now is to say that let us keep all these internship programs that help companies get interns, because our strength is the people that we have, the innovators, the future business owners, and AI specialists in this country.
That's great. Thank you, Perouz. Samuel, I'll turn to you. And of course, you've experienced Canada's AI talent pipeline yourself directly as a graduate student and a Mitacs intern. And now you lead a data science team at Intact. So from your perspective, perhaps you can just tell us a little bit about the transitions from being an intern and a grad student to being a contributor at Intact and now a team leader. And as well, given the global growth of your company, I'd appreciate your perspectives on how that talent strength helps us globally in terms of competing.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, I'd say one thing that was key to me for the transition to academia to industry was really gaining that domain-specific knowledge that, well, AI is a very powerful tool, but it's only useful if you use it to the right problems. And I feel like that's really when the domain-specific knowledge comes in handy. Also, an AI model is one small piece of the products that we deliver, and like I think it comes back to the interdisciplinarity point that was raised earlier. So I'd say working in those bigger settings on concrete products was key in exposing me to other specialties, like can think of product management, UX, engineering in general. So I'd say that was really a key in facilitating transition. And I think it's also super important to have an impact from that more theoretical research. For your second point, which was like, how do we attract, retain, and get and leverage that talent force? I'd say like for the attraction, AI is still a relatively new field and a specialized one. So I feel like having that close bridge to academia and having a good presence on campus is key in identifying the future talent of tomorrow, and also allowing the enterprise to lead innovation through state-of-the-art techniques. For the retain piece, I'd say it's like we mentioned talent as being a key asset. So I feel it's important that we just treat our key talent as a very important asset. And that comes through giving development opportunities, building a good culture of innovation and leaving some room to that key talent to have the impact they see with the ideas they have. And like to me, that will naturally cause an impact. And like, for example, at Intact, I'd say that our data-driven aspects and AI models was a key element in our outperformance in our industry, and will be a big point for our global expansion that we're planning in the future years.
Okay, thanks, Samuel. Perhaps I'll turn back to you, Yves. Ubisoft is a global company. Can you situate Canada in that global context in terms of talent and what you think makes Canada strong in that regard, and what the biggest risks that we face are?
First, just an anecdote. I was lucky enough to have been invited by a European committee who wanted to understand better how to accelerate the adoption, but also the value creation of AI in Europe. And I took Mitacs as a unique example in the world because of its flexibility and its agility, which is extremely important when we're talking about technologies that are moving that fast. So we do have the strength of the connection between the industry and the academia, but we also need to remember that we are lucky enough in Canada, and that's unique, to have Mitacs and other providers who are actually facilitating that with minimal bureaucracy, honestly. So to me, that's the main focus. What we could do better and maybe improve as Canadian is continue working on the interdisciplinary aspect and value that. If you think about that, talking about ChatGPT, what's the limit of getting something out of ChatGPT? It's me. It's my ability to have a general culture, to know enough of different domains to make sure that I can ask the right question. And maybe sometimes we value a little too much the expertise and the silos, and not enough the interdisciplinary aspects or the generalists. And I think that if we think about the future of AI and how it can create value, we look back to this question of having people with multiple domain knowledge, multiple disciplinary aspects, animators who also know about voice design and so forth for the video game. And that's really something we need to support more. The other thing, obviously, we need to be better at integrating foreign students in our global pipeline, because the race for talent is not Canadian, it's worldwide. So we need definitely to be better at that.
That's great, thanks, Yves. Perhaps I'll build on a couple of those points in passing a question to Perouz. So from the perspective of ServiceNow, where your research translates into applications across a broad range of sectors, how do you facilitate that interdisciplinary engagement between discipline experts, including visiting researchers? And how do you foster a culture where you can bring in talent from around the world, as we welcome here in Canada, and support their contribution and retention in Canada?
Yes, so attracting interns or visiting researchers, as we call them, is a very important part of our operations in the research group of ServiceNow. And to build a bit upon what Yves mentioned about attracting foreign talent, that is something that is absolutely crucial at this point. It's true, we do have a lot of local talent, but we also sometimes need to attract the best talent from abroad. And recruiting them is one thing, but getting them to stay during or after their internship, this is, I think, a part where we can do better at. Having programs not only for internship, but also programs that would let them to legally stay in the country, innovate, and keep the learnings that they obtained here, in a way. So yes, recruiting talent is one of the most important part. As to the other part of your question about how we do this interdisciplinary dance between, very theoretical, mathematical, deep engineering work to translate into innovation, to products that people actually use and are pleasant to work with. That is something that, the way we do it is we talk a lot with product teams across ServiceNow. We try to understand what their pain points are, what the enterprise needs are. There's a lot, us as researchers, we don't know, and ServiceNow, being a platform company, has all sorts of applications that we get inspired from, and it inspires our research, it inspires what we do, what we publish on, and I think this is a great example of strengthening bridges between academia and industry, and these internship the opportunities that Mitacs gives us with its interns gives us also the opportunity to develop that side of our expertise, the side of playing the bridge between academia and what the industry needs. Hoping that these interns are going to continue, stay in Canada, and be better, let's say, product people based on deep academic AI expertise.
That's great. Thank you, Perouz. Samuel, I'll ask you just a question, and then we'll go to a short round with each of you telling us about the single biggest opportunity or challenge for Canada in terms of talent and AI. But Samuel, Intact is a company you wouldn't necessarily associate in the first instance with AI and machine learning. But given the work in the insurance business, of course, as you think about it, it's critical. Can you just give us a sense about how, more broadly in the company and senior leadership, they're working with the data science teams to look at broader adoption of these tools to help their core business?
Yeah, I'd say that was a confidence that was acquired through the years. Like the Intact Lab, which is our research department, started with a few more geeky actuaries that did experiments and proved value, and they were really attached to core products. And over the years, it grew exponentially, which we're now around 1,000 data and digital professionals. And to me, it was about building that confidence and going small steps and not seeing that as a big thing that only FANGs should do it. I think it's important that each company can think of their smaller use cases, even in fields that you don't necessarily associate to AI. There are multiple, I don't think AI is good for everything, but there are a lot of things that it's good at. And it was, I'd say, about building that confidence. And over the years, the lab got a good reputation and is now attached to, I'd say, a lot of the core competencies around insurance. And for sure, there's the data-driven aspect, but I'd say it's just building that track record and starting where you are now and do with the resources you have. And I think Mitacs, for example, with just discussing with your colleague, can play a very good role in identifying those opportunities for fields that might be a bit less analytics oriented. So I think it's start small, but start.
Okay, merci. Thanks, Samuel. So we're down to the last round in about 30, 45 seconds each. What's the single biggest message you'd like to leave us about talent in AI and how we not only attract and develop it in Canada, but retain here?
So if we want to build value here, talent is the most important part, which means not only attracting them, retaining them from wherever they come from, giving them this mindset of creating value, not only algorithm, therefore this interdisciplinary aspect. And bottom line, we need to take greater risk. We need to reinvent the way we work. We need to reinvent the way we produce things. And that's really the most important part. And I think definitely that Mitacs is one of the greatest tools we have in Canada to enable that.
Okay, thank you. Perouz?
So I will repeat a lot of what Yves said here. Talent and their retention. I think retention is something that we can do better at. I myself came to this country many, many years ago, and a lot of the good things that have happened in my life, especially career-wise, have happened here in Montreal, in Canada, and I want that opportunity to be available to everyone who wants who wants to come here, work, and stay here, and continue their great innovation.
That's great. And Samuel, what's your one kind of key message you'd like to leave with people?
Yeah, well, I'll probably repeat myself, but I'd say just get started if you haven't already. You don't need a big fancy team of data scientists. There are programs to get started, and like I think it's about getting that ball rolling. And like Adentech, I'd say was a good example of how big that can grow. And so I'd say just don't neglect that innovation. Treat it as part of what you should do in your company. And even if you're in non-traditional tech enterprise, I think there's many use cases to. So talk to your techie friends if you don't know where to start. I think it can pay off.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you so much. We've had a great discussion. I think we've heard about the core role of talent, interdisciplinary research, applying broadly across companies, and using that as a strength for global leadership out of firms based here and working here in Canada. So please join me in thanking our panel.